are associated with it and what they're doing. I mean, it was a
Get
great
started if you guys are ready.
experience.
Are you ready?
Yeah. Culinary Institute of America.
Alrighty, welcome to the April 10th, 2018 school board meeting for the Cedar Rapids Community School District. Tonight, due some extenuating circumstances, we have revised our agenda based on the availability of our board members. We have board members who are actually in cars driving, not feeling well, who are joining us by phone. And so because our budget is really needs to be certified by April 15th, that's really all that we are going to be addressing this evening, along with our consent agenda. So I hope everybody had a chance to get a copy of the revised agenda, which is out at the table. So pursuant to Board Regulation Procedure 202.2C, due to the physical absence of both our board president and board vice president, we are asking the board to temporarily appoint Director Gary Anhalt as the board president pro tem for tonight's board meeting. So it's recommended that the Board of Education approve the temporary appointment of Director Gary Anhalt as board president for this meeting, and this is a voice vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Thank you. We'll turn the meeting over to you, Gary.
Thank you. I call the meeting to order. And our first item on the agenda will be a public hearing for.
We need to approve the revised agenda.
We do.
The approval, yeah. A motion and a
Okay.
second, please.
I need a motion to approve the revised agenda.
So moved.
Sorry about that.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second, so this is a roll call vote. Director Laverty? Sterling? Director Jacobo? Director Jansen? Director Anhalt?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right. We'll now move to the public hearing. We have two items open for the public hearing. Laura, were there any written correspondence?
No, there was no written correspondence on either of the items.
Okay. We will take both items together. Steve, is there any comment at all on either one of these?
I think this is the opportunity to ask if there's anybody in the audience who wants to
Ah,
comment at all
thank you.
regarding the amendment or the budget for fiscal
All right.
19.
Do we have anyone in the audience that'd like to come forth and speak on the budget amendment for 2017-18 or on the actual budget 2018-19? Seeing no one come forward, we will close the public hearing, and we will move to the consent agenda. Does anyone have any, we ask for questions first and then
Yeah.
approve it? Any questions on the consent agenda from anyone here, or John or Mary?
Nope.
Actually, just had something really quick. I don't know if John or Mary on the phone had something.
No.
No? Okay.
Okay.
BA 18301. So the agreement with Pacific Institute.
Okay, do you have a,
So I've actually had the opportunity to participate in some different levels of training with the Pacific Institute, so I was pretty excited to see that that's an opportunity that our leadership team is going to have. Is there any thought to potentially looking at that for buildings or for staff sometime in the future, or is it just kind of?
Yeah, so this is going to be a little bit of a historical piece. So we used to have two people on staff that were trained
Right.
in 21 Keys. over time, one of those people has taken a job at a rival school district that we don't acknowledge. But the other person is still with us. So we actually have two schools that 2 summers ago, Arthur and Garfield, they went through the 21 Keys training guided by what were then our 2 internal trainers. And so we have been working with Chris Scafidi. He actually, it's kind of an interesting thing. He lives here locally but does training locally and nationally. And this concept parallels a lot of what we did with the intercultural development inventory. So with the IDI, we learned about the IDI. We did some training with senior leadership team to better understand the concepts behind it, and then from there we amplified that, running pilots now and that sort of thing. So this is a parallel concept to that. Get the leadership team steeped in this experience and then talk about what potential options might be for staff. Because the heart of this work is mindset. And so we have strategic goal 4 related to mindset, which happens to be intercultural mindset, but I think more broadly thinking about mindset. So that's kind of where the conversation is
Okay.
to this point. So that's, yep.
All right.
Yep.
Any other questions? All right, hearing none, this will be, I need a motion to, do I need a motion?
Yes, you need a motion.
I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second?
Second.
All right, and this will be a roll call vote because we have due to the personnel report and the terms and conditions of the food and nutrition.
Director Laverty,
Aye.
Director Meisterling,
Aye.
Director Jansen. Aye. Director Jacobo. Director Anhalt.
Aye. Okay, at this time, we will move to administration and the budget amendment resolution. Mr. Graham.
You have, thank you, President Pro Tem Anhalt, sorry. At any rate, you have before you the amendment for the current year budget. And we saw this at our last board meeting, and basis, we amend the budget to reflect the budget changes on a monthly basis. And so I think I want to emphasize in your pertinent facts that the amended budget is what we have as the anticipated budget, which is just a smidgen higher than what we've had when we initially published. There's no change in tax at all. It has no impact on local property tax. So I would ask the board to consider approving.
Any questions? Voice vote. Okay, we have a voice vote on this, so all those in favor of approving the amendment, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, it is approved. Now the certified budget.
I'm going to dispense with the PowerPoint presentation, just hit the highlights. I think the good news with our fiscal 19 budget is really around the tax rate. We've been at $15.37 for 3 consecutive years, and now we're proposing it to go to $15.05. And a large part of it, as I shared with the board at our last meeting, really is mathematics. It's a growing tax base that is growing at a rate that exceeds the growth in our allowable expenditures in the general fund particularly. So this is the reason why our levy rate is declining, which is really good news, and should be real happy with that. And again, I made a comment at our last board meeting around taxing ourselves with money to pay for things that we need isn't something we're able to do because of the reality of school authority in Iowa. We simply can't raise the tax back up to $15.37 and raise extra millions of dollars and use those for things that are very important to us because we don't have the authority to do that. So that's one piece. The other piece is really what's been, I think, been circulating around the community with our municipalities and county and schools for sure, is this idea around this tax fill rollback, or not rollback, but a backfill related to industrial and commercial property. We receive about $2.5 million in state monies, backfill monies each year for the commercial and industrial property tax reduction that was enacted maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And it was a couple of years ago that the state began to dial down their support of that backfill. You see, the property owners of commercial industrial property that enjoy this reduction of their tax won't see a change in that going forward regardless of what the state is doing. But what the state is doing to the public entities who receive this backfill money is perhaps taking it completely away, which is not a good thing, especially when you've already published your levy rate, and we have no recourse in the fiscal 19 budget, nor do cities or the county any recourse to make adjustments now after the fact. So this is going to deal a blow more to municipalities in the county than it will for schools because of this idea of authority. So sometimes authority can be a detriment to us, and sometimes authority can be a benefit. In this case, our authority is not reduced by the general fund reduction of what could be a reduction of state funds for commercial and industrial property. And that's about $1.9 million that we don't see as a reduction in authority, but we see as a reduction eventually in cash, if that makes sense to you. The only other real impact that we would have negatively would be really in our PEPL fund, because the PEPL fund is a stated levy rate firm. It is $1.34 for the voter-approved PEPL, which is the state max, and it's 33 cents for the annual board-approved, which is the maximum as well. We can't raise that to some higher number to recoup these lost dollars if the state does pull back on this. So it really does mean about $275,000 of PEPL projects or vehicles or other PEPL qualifying things that won't be able to be provided for in fiscal 19 as a result of this. So that is just the reality. Fiscal 20 will be looking perhaps at making some adjustments, but given the dynamics of property tax growth, which has been pretty robust, it's too soon to say regarding what our district levy rate may be in 20. I would expect it to be very much similar to what it is for fiscal. Really, that's it. I can answer questions, but what we're asking the board to consider doing now is to pass a motion to certify our budget at 1505. That is in the bottom of the pertinent fact sheet that shows our expenses and revenues anticipated, but really it's that levy rate at 1505. Pass, and we'll certify that board.
Any questions from John or Mary?
No.
Thank you.
No.
Steve, if the state does pull back from the backfill, I've heard there could be a possibility that they would let us to reopen the certification. Is that right? Or
I have not heard that, and I seriously doubt that because there's so many things lining up. This is crucial for counties to get, they are the fiscal agent for all public entities in each county in Iowa, and there's so many things that need to be lined up. I can't imagine.
and I appreciate your comment and explanation about not being, it would not be helpful for us to raise, in fact, we can't, the levy rate, even though we could use more funding. We're controlled by that state school formula. So
That's right.
we need to continue to lobby, hopefully, for some changes in that whole structure. All right, not hearing anything, this is a voice vote. All those in favor of approving the proposed certified budget, say aye.
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 Opposed? Same sign. Hearing none, it is approved and certified, and you can take care of that tomorrow. All right. Who's the official timekeeper here? I think think we're setting a record.
It's close.
I certainly know how to run a
Yes.
quick and efficient. Do I not? Look at your calendars for information. If there are no other action before the board, I adjourn the meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.